Thank you for joining us tonight. We're on replay. I struggled this past week to figure out how I would continue producing this weekly show, not only financially, but also just coordinating the details and coordinating the interviews and getting all the information in the right format to the amazing Rita Hernandez with Inspiration for Life online radio station. Many women have told me how important this work is to them and what they're receiving from it, from the interviews, and also from the teaching that I'm hosting over on our Facebook page. So I cannot not do this during this season. So I ask you, the listener, to help spread the word about these amazingly brave and resilient women who are overcoming lies, twists of truth that they have believed during their life, and how God is transforming them and meeting them right where they are. Welcome to Becoming Truly Liberated's Empower Hour. I'm your host, Janet Taylor, and tonight's show is a tough topic, one that we're all too familiar with on the news, in movies, storylines, but for these two women, it's part of their story. They both come from abusive backgrounds, one as a child and the other as an adult. Domestic violence is an epidemic in our world, and I truly believe it begins with the mindset that women are less than. Culturally, as well as religions across the world, have skewed this foundational mindset. Even this past weekend, there's a video and audio circulating of a very well-known, and I would even say popular, preacher and teacher in the Christian faith who's completely disregarding and dismissing, those are just really light politically correct words, a woman Bible teacher and leader. And when I heard it, I just cried. So much bondage in this topic of women leading and preaching and basically being equal to a man in the eyes of the Lord, and how we should be with each other. And such a painful reminder that if we know God personally, seek the truth in His Word for ourselves, and not put yokes on our brothers and sisters for their sake as well as the sake of those who are lost. This is such an important, vital even issue. We have to continue to support each other and reach out, and so I invite you to do the exact same thing with the other women, but also with these women, thanking them for being brave, for sharing with us. So both of these women tonight talk about recognizing that words that have been spoken over them were not the truth, and that their Creator had made them special. Next week is our final week on this topic, lies women believe, and I think it's more like twists on the truth that men and women believe. I'd like to hear from many of you for this next show. I challenge you to take a video, 1 or 2 minutes, just stating some lies that you believe. Maybe some that you've overcome, maybe some that you've recognized yourself listening to the stories over the last 6 weeks here on the Empower Hour. And send them to me in Facebook Messenger, on Becoming Truly Liberated page, or through LinkedIn, Janet Lynn Taylor. Also, if you're interested in supporting this movement to ensure that we're able to continue with these interviews as well as teachings that are going to be made available soon, please contact me in the same way. So join me tonight as we listen to Davina Lyons and Haseeba Mohsin as they tell their stories of becoming truly liberated. This interview was brought to you by Becoming Truly Liberated. Join us today at Becoming Truly Liberated on Facebook. Created to guide a woman in understanding why her life, story, and voice are vital for such a time as this. Confident, empowered, valued, truly liberated. Thank you so much for joining us for this segment of Becoming Truly Liberated Empower Hour. I am so very pleased tonight to introduce you to a new friend. Her name is Davina Lyons. She's an educator, author, speaker, founder of the Tribe Authentic Woman Workshop. I'm reading this so I don't mess this up. Contributing author to a collection of stories called The Lemonade Stand, From Sour to Sweet, Inspiring Women's Stories of Strength and Success. I know for sure I'm going to go find that book so I can read it. She's soon launching the Authentic Leadership Workshop. She's delivering today her first webinar at North Central University. I'm so pleased to introduce you all to Davina Lyons. Welcome, Davina.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This is awesome. Thank you.
I'm excited too. We took
for our listeners, we briefly had a conversation earlier this week just to kind of get to know each other. So it was a great time. And I'm excited for Davina to share her story with you. So tell us a little bit more about you. That was a great, impressive bio, but what about Davina? Tell us a little bit about her.
All right. So the first aspect of my bio is always educator. So I'm a middle school teacher. I teach 7th, 8th grade students. And I absolutely love and adore education and teaching. So that's always my first go-to. But I'm also very passionate about women and about helping women. Well, one, because I am a woman, but also because I had a mother and a grandmother, and I know their stories. And so I believe that it's really important to help women, so I really want to educate, inspire, and motivate women to embrace their authentic selves. And so that's really been the foundation for me for everything that I do.
That's great. That's great. And I think, God is just really raising up people all over the world, really in that same space, that we just really need to be our authentic selves. It's time for us to be real. And it's also a time for women's voices to be heard. So I really appreciate all you're doing, especially teaching middle school kids. Good for you. I had a couple of those, but anyway.
Yes.
So
they keep me young.
Actually, I was a home educator, but it didn't have the chaos, the chaos
Right.
of the schoolroom. So I really appreciate what you're doing there.
Thank
So
you.
tell me a little bit. So our topic currently still is lies women believe. And that means different things to different people. Some people I've had to explain that to, what that means. I don't believe lies. So tell me why that resonated with you and the story that you want to tell around that.
Wow. So since you contacted me, I really had to think about that. And it was amazing just how much it revealed, things that I hadn't actually thought about. But when I sort of meditated on it, and I prayed about what is the real message that I need to share. And I realized that the lies actually started out, the source was other people. And over time, they became lies that I told myself. That was the first thing. And what I think the number one lie I told myself was that I was damaged goods, that I was not, that I was beyond repair, and that my life was a waste. And I was really, when I thought about that, and I do know, and I will share the turning point on that, but I realized that my past trauma as a child, I'm a child of adverse childhood experiences, so to speak. I'm an adult that experienced adverse childhood experiences as a child. And so I understand a lot more about that now as a teacher. And once I became more educated about childhood trauma and how it impacts your adult life and your adult health, that was like the first awakening for me. But I believe the lie that because of the things I experienced as a child, one, I thought those things were my fault. I thought I was responsible in some way. And so the reason why I believe education is so important is because it really helps people to understand the truth. And so I became in search of the truth. For me, physical and mental abuse as a child affected me in such a way that all of the choices I made, the decisions I made, nothing seemed to work for me. And even though I was in the church, even though I'm a believer, and I had all of the right, what I considered to be influences around me, I was still hurting inside. I was still trying to figure out who I was. And I wanted people to see the real me. And it was like I couldn't, no matter what, either in my career, in my personal life, with my friends, I always felt like I was the one that was different. And there was this inner dialogue constantly saying, why can't they see me? Why don't they realize who I really am? And so negative words that had been spoken over me, I believed those things. Those were the initial lies.
Right.
And then I thought, well, it's just too late. And over time, I started really searching for, excuse me, I started searching for, I really got into self-help. In addition to my faith, I started reading the right books. I started hearing the messages that I believe were divinely intended for me to hear. And so I came across Evan Carmichael, and I started listening on YouTube to some of his stuff. And his thing was my one word.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote the book by one word. And so
Right.
I got the book, read the book, and I'm like, well, what is my one word? And my one word became authentic. That's when I realized that over the years, my constant yearning for people to see me, I wanted them to see my true self, my authentic self.
Right.
What I had to now do is turn the lens inward and embrace my own self. And so that's where I started doing the real work of loving myself and not being so critical and dispelling the lies, so to speak, realizing that they were lies. And that's what led me to found Tribe Authentic Woman. And Tribe because I don't want women to feel like I felt for so many years, like, why can't someone see me? I want a tribe of women. I want women to come together and embrace and support one another, because I knew that I didn't want to stand up and just facilitate and pretend to have all the answers, because I don't.
Right.
I wanted women to support one another. And so that's why I started the workshop. And this is my second year, almost, yeah, it's been 2.5 years of doing this. And it's just been amazing. I've met some wonderful women and I've learned a lot, and I'm still growing, you know.
Sure. You said some words and I was trying to find something to write on. You said something about an adverse childhood experiences.
ACEs, there's research on that, yes.
Okay. And so you're talking about abuse, basically. You're talking about mental and physical, spiritual, whatever, abuse. And so I think that is something that more and more and more, all of us in whatever capacity we're coming from, can look back and look at how whatever parental unit you had, whether that was a grandparent or a parent or a foster parent or whatever, because of their own trauma, because of their own insecurities, how they've passed that on. And I think it's really kind of bubbling forward, bubbling up. And out of our generation, I mean, how we, out of our not knowing what was happening to us, how we, pass that on to our children. And so, so I appreciate very much. I love the word tribe. I use the word community, but it's the same thing. We're just really coming around and letting women know. And that's really what this whole conversation is about, is letting other women know, hey, you know what? We've all experienced some things, some things that were not truth. And then when we realized what the truth was, we could start changing the trajectory of our lives. And so, some of the things that you were talking about is understanding that those words that were used towards you are not the truth. And one thing, I've been talking with all the other women about is that lies are not big lies. They're not like big whopper things that we don't really, it's like, that isn't even true. I mean, we have plenty of fake news running around the United States these days. So, like, not like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Right. But they're twists on truth. It's a little bit of a truth. I mean, the truth is someone said that to you. The twist on it is it's not really yours to own.
Right.
That's somebody else's. The truth is, these things happen to us, or these things can affect us, but the twist is that's not ours. And so being able to set that free. So tell us a little bit more about your group that you're working with, and other things that might be impactful as far as how that changed your trajectory when you started realizing those things for yourself.
Okay. So I decided that I wanted to do something different in terms of, I saw that there were a lot of people doing what we do that were offering like a 2-day or a 3-day or a half-day workshop, or, some sort of celebration or get together. And I would see women celebrate it. And I attended a lot of those things myself. But I found myself again sitting in the room saying, this is great, but when I walk out that door, how will I feel? What will I do? What's my
Right.
how? I
Mhm.
understood Simon Sinek's the why. I got the why. I had that down. I
Mhm.
understand that. But how? How do I change my trajectory? How do I fix my life, so to speak? And also, well, I may be motivated to listen to YouTube videos or read books, and I am motivated to do that, but I'm also an educator. Not all women are made that way,
Mhm.
and that's okay, right? But
Right.
so I tried to figure out what could I do. So the reason why I founded it as a workshop and ongoing, and we actually meet in person in Mesa, Arizona. We meet every third Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. for anyone who's in the area. And so I wanted to help women understand that um, the personal development process is ongoing. It's actually lifetime, and
Right.
not to get discouraged
Mhm.
when you don't feel like you're in the place you're supposed to be in at the time you're supposed to be there, because that is actually not the point. The point is to take the time to love on yourself. And it's not a one time, sit and get. It's an ongoing process. So the workshop is continual, and I show up. So I want to make sure that other women show up, right? And in that process, now you're going to learn some skills. You're going to learn some things that you can do, some best practices, so to speak. And what I focus on with Tribe, I have 8 domains, so to speak, and I don't want to go through all of that right now, but what I will
Sure.
share is that each of these areas impact either behavior, personality, identity. So we do some deep work, and then they go home with homework for the month. so
Mhm.
so that,
Good.
again, so that you stay in touch with who you are. And I'm extremely passionate about it. I can't project my passion to make someone else passionate, so everyone has to sort of do it their way. It's really self-paced. But again, showing up, understanding, some women have aha moments like you wouldn't believe. They're like, I never thought of that. Or, wow, I do that thing, but I didn't know why. Or, so there's all of these amazing connections being made. And I feel so, I feel so good about helping the women because it's helping me.
Yes.
The little girl in me that's saying, thank you that somebody cares, and thank
Yes.
you that things are going to be different maybe for the next woman, right?
Yes.
And so the workshop is again monthly, and I'm in the process now because there are people like yourself in other states who I would love to be able to work with. And
Yes.
so I'm doing online. We're developing an online um, version of the Tribe Authentic workshop. And again, everything that we use in the in-person, I just have to figure out, how to make it work online with fidelity, and then really be able to stay in touch. So I'll probably be doing live webinars. I'm working on the curriculum now, but I'll be doing more of a similar to what we're doing here, where we're actually having some conversations, and then also being able to share some of the tools so that women can fill their toolbox. So a lot of that is in the works, and I just feel like getting out there. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak and share what I'm doing, because one of the difficult things is spreading the message,
Yes.
letting people know
Yes.
this is
Mhm.
what is happening. And there's a lot of wonderful people just like you who are doing great work with women as well. And I think women just need to find their tribe, find their community,
Yes.
find what works for them in their area, and they will be led there. Just be open to receive. So that's that's pretty much what I'm doing there. And then I will share
Yes.
that the Lemonade Stand book is probably going to help. And by the way, that's not out yet. That will be
Oh,
out
okay.
next month or so.
Oh, okay, great. Well, so we'll talk about your contact information in just a minute, but I really am just resonating with so much of what you're saying, and a lot of it is local, and I appreciate that you want to go global too, because I think we have this, this amazing opportunity now with the internet and social media. Many of the people that I've interviewed have been from London, South Africa.
Yes.
I interviewed a woman the other day who's from Pakistan, and it's just because women resonate with women, and we are looking for that tribe. And I know from personal experience, I'm out in East Texas now, and I really miss my tribe in San Antonio. I lived there for 25 years, and I had my people. I had the people that I was, my business people and my friend people and my church people. And, it's just, so being out here is very lonely. It's very lonely out here. And so I'm excited. I get to go to San Antonio tomorrow, and I'm like, yeah, I want my people. And so graciously I get to stay with a lot of my friends because they're like, stay with me. And so I really love that more and more women are recognizing that we need each other. We really need each other, and getting away from the lie of the 80s and 90s, which we were competition. You and I do something that's very similar. I don't see you as competition. I'm like, girl, can I be one of your trainers? I mean, teach me what you know.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's not reinvent anything. Let's collaborate. Right. Let's do things together and set women free. So I really appreciate there's so much more that I want to talk to you about. And our next series is going to be about women who dream big. So we're going to have to come back to that. But on this particular topic, lies women believe, anything else you want to talk to our viewers about, anything else you want to tell them, any aha moments or little nuggets of things that will help them become truly liberated?
Yes. I think the biggest one that comes to mind is appreciate who you are. Appreciate who you are right now, where you are, and stop listening to the voices of those who have suggestions about who you should be. Appreciate who you are, because therein lies your creator made you special. And, you have to tap into what is so special about you. And the only way to do that is to turn the lens inward and love yourself. The things that I used to worry about that I thought other people would judge, I no longer worry about. And I am so free. I no longer ask that question, do they see me? I see me. I see me.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I see you. I see you, Davina.
Thank you.
And I think that is so very important. We need to say that to other women too. I know I consciously make an effort when I see someone who seems to be having kind of a bad time at the store or whatever, to kind of reach out and give them an encouraging word, because sometimes people think everybody's looking at them in a negative way, but they're not, especially mamas that are having toddlers with meltdowns. I'm like, girl, I see you. You're doing great. You're gonna be okay. Gonna survive this. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but you are.
The point about that's so really interesting is that the more you embrace yourself, the more you love yourself, is the more you radiate a light that helps other women. So I think a lot of women have been told, don't be selfish, don't be, maybe by spouses or people, around them. You need to care. Yes, you do need to care for other people, be compassionate and empathetic, but you have to first do that for yourself, right? The whole oxygen on the, you need to do it first. Yes. And so when you do that, it naturally attracts people and it naturally helps people. I experience that now in a way that I never did before. So I'm absolutely grateful for that opportunity to shine and to be, and to love myself so that I can love other people better. So I love that. And you came from a hard place, and I appreciate that you're there and that you're shining your light. And that really is, I believe that's what God has called us to do, not to condemn. He didn't come to condemn. He came to save and to love and to heal. And so I'm super excited that God has brought us together in a roundabout way, but I love it anyway. And I usually don't ask for, people have been coming to me, and I usually do not put out there that I'm looking for people. But I'm on a Facebook group, and I don't know if you're on part of it or not, but it's about radio and podcast. And so I just put out there, looking for some people, and someone sent me several names, and yours was one of them. So I'm excited that connected, because God knew. Okay, so give us a couple on the slide directly after this interview.
there will be Davina's contact information. For those of you that are listening on Inspiration for Life online radio, you'll need to go to YouTube or to our Facebook page, Becoming Truly Liberated, to see that information. But Davina, tell us the best way to get in touch with you.
I am a big fan of emails. One, because I like to make that connection and contact. So if people would just email me at davina@tribeauthenticwoman.com and just introduce yourself. And for those that do that, I would like to also make sure that they're on the list for the book release, for the Lemonade Stand book. I think that it would be wonderful. Just hit me up with an email. Of course, I'm always on social media as well, but I like emails because I like to be able to respond, and it's just more intimate that way.
That's great. That's great. Okay. So I thank you again so much. Powerful, powerful information. I appreciate so much what you're doing. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
So I appreciate everyone that's taken the time to listen to these podcasts. Whether you're listening to them live or whether you're listening to them on replay, so very important to get to know ourselves and to love ourselves. Even if you've come from hard places, especially if you've come from hard places, to start combating those lies, those little twists of truth that keep us down and keep us from being all that we have been created to be. This podcast, Becoming Truly Liberated, really is from the heart of raising up women to love themselves, to get beyond wherever they've been, to a healthier space, so that we can go into the community and love on other people. And my space that I love to be in and that I'm really looking to forward to doing in Van Zandt County, Texas, is with our nonprofit called Become. We are looking for women who are going inwards and trying to get to a healthy place so that they can talk to and mentor young women who have come from the foster care or homeless type situation, economically unstable. And so please also visit us over at Become Community on Facebook. So I thank you so much. Please visit our sponsors. And Davina, I appreciate you so much tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
This interview is brought to you by GoX Apparel. You make a difference in the lives of children and families around the world every time you put on a GoX tee. Purchase with purpose. That matters.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for another segment of Becoming Truly Liberated Empower Hour. Tonight we have a really interesting story from Haseeba Mohsin, and I'm excited to meet with her. I talked to her just a little bit before the interview, and she is from, I think she's from London. I think she's from London. She'll tell you more about that. I know we're on different time zones right now, so which is always fun, interviewing early in the morning and they're late in the afternoon. But Haseeba Mohsin is a qualified occupational psychologist. She's worked in management consulting and now becoming a wellness and empowerment coach for women. She's recently going through some things personally, and she seeks to help women who have gone through that same type of situation by transforming their challenges into success. So I thank you so much for joining us tonight, Haseeba. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Janet? Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for letting me be on your show, your podcast. I must say it's very inspiring and it is actually very liberating. And I feel that it really goes out to women and we can make it together. We all can make a difference. So thank you.
Yes, yes, I'm excited. I'm excited about, especially when we're talking in different countries and cross-cultural, and now tonight we're going to learn a little bit more about even cross-religions. And so tell us a little bit more about you personally. What's going on with you and why did you want to come on tonight?
Right, yes. Currently, I am living in London, and I've been living in London for the past 2 years. But I've been born and brought up in the Middle East, and originally I'm from Pakistan. So that's like a whole lot of a story. So that makes me very diverse. The reason why I'm here today is that I am setting up my own coaching, becoming a coach, about, as you just mentioned, that I'm becoming an empowerment and wellness coach for women. The reason being is I went through 2 years of domestic violent marriage, and which has thankfully ended recently. I got divorced 2 months ago. So because I've been on a journey, and it has been such a journey where I had a lot of self-thought, about a lot of awakening, and made me realize the lies that I have believed all my life. So I really felt that this could be a very good, we should connect, and I can share my story, and hopefully I can make a little difference in someone's life. And we all need it. I needed it. And when I was going through so much in my life, I had, thankfully, my Lord had blessed me with an amazing family, along with great friends who were there by my side. And now I hope that I can be, because there are lots of women who are vulnerable out there, and
Yes.
I want to be supportive and help them come out of their traumatic lives as well. So this is the reason why I'm here today.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're coming out a victor, coming out victorious from a very difficult situation. And I know, just domestic violence is, it's just rampant. It's just rampant. And I think it is very much rooted in twists of the truth. And maybe that's what what the topic should have been called instead of lies, but twists of the truth. Not only that women believe, that men believe as well. And so I know that I think that a lot of people will really resonate with your story. So tell us a little bit about some of those things that you believed, and that you've kind of had aha moments for, especially culturally, religiously. We're very, very different. So I'd love to hear more about it.
So yeah, as I just mentioned, since I come from originally being my ethnicity being a Pakistani, and living in the Middle East, and then I've lived in different parts of the world, let's say UK and Canada. So there was one commonality that I came across after meeting so many women, that we are made to believe that we should compromise, especially since childhood. And in spite of being so, thankfully, coming from a well-educated family, and mostly open-minded people, my parents were very supportive and very open-minded, and they've been constant my strength. But somehow we have been struck by the society, the culture, the norms, that people wouldn't say it, but you just grab it. And since a long time, I have been in constant debate with people that I don't believe in compromises. Now, that's the reason why the compromise is not from the heart, and especially when it comes to relationships. And in my culture, there's, especially for women, there's like, let's say I got married at the age of 27. I'm now 30. And there was an immense amount of pressure to get married as soon as possible. Oh, she's getting old. So we ended up, and she's not ready to compromise. And I said, yes. I always said I'm not ready to compromise, because I believe in adjustment. Adjustments are from the heart. It makes things you flexible. It makes things you understand and open to people. So compromise is just something you're not happy to do, and you don't realize that you're just bound to do it. And this is what happened. And I became a victim of this, sadly. Then eventually I said, okay, it's time to get married. Let's get married. And assumingly, my ex-husband came from let's say he was well educated as well, working for a good multinational company, living abroad. And I thought maybe we are aligned, but I didn't realize that things that I have been thinking that I wouldn't compromise, I ended up compromising myself, my personality, my own, to the extent my values. So it was, and I now realize that that was my mistake, that I shouldn't have, just to make that relationship, which was going nowhere, I was just compromising rather than, and expecting him to adjust to things. So this is what causes a lot, and it's quite common, and it's very common, and I see it all around us. Women tend to compromise just to save their marriage, for the sake of their children. I mean, I don't have children, but I see women who are so stuck in their marriages for 20 years, 25 years, just because of their children. And as a result, I see their children even more vulnerable. I mean, it's just sad. I mean, how a bad relationship can cause so much of multiplier effects. So this is something I feel that it is even more important for me to speak up and voice about. We need to revise about how relationships need to work, and especially after going through so much. When I stepped out, here's a background, I would just step back a bit to give a more clear image about you can visualize my story. That I left the house. I had a beautiful apartment in London, in East London, and I had decorated with my own hands. And my parents had gifted me when we were shifting from Dubai to London. It was all gifted by my parents, and I walked out, and I walked out with just 2 suitcases, and I didn't know where I would go, because a night before my ex-husband was so violent, and I was like, this is it, I can't take it. And then, and since that day, I knew that I have my Lord up there, and this is me, and we have this connection, and no one else is coming, and he will make it work for me. And since then, the journey hasn't been easy. It hasn't been simple, but I have spent my time grieve and be depressed, but I've been taking actions and trying to and now I'm working towards setting up my coaching business. So this is the change and the breaking of those limiting beliefs, that I am now taking actions and actually working on adjusting to life, rather than just believing that, oh, I need to just take up with the compromises.
So it's interesting, the word that you use, compromise, means something different to me. Compromising to me is both of you coming together with a mutual understanding. So someone gives that both parties give up something to come together to a compromise. And so to me, what I'm hearing in the context of what you're saying is more of compliant. Being submissive, I'll just take it, I'll just take it. No matter what you're dishing out, I'm going to take it. And yes, that is very, very prevalent in cultures and in religion. And, it does create an opening for abuse. Not all men are abusive in that way, violently, but a lot of men can be abusive in other ways, financially, emotionally, spiritually, still kind of lording over a woman. And I think that's very, very common. And so one thing that I love that you just said, that, you had your own personal relationship. And I think that's a big piece of everyone's journey, women especially, is having their own personal relationship with their Lord, not having someone else in between that. And so we've been talking a lot about that. Actually, a recent podcast was talking about that, how women are not necessarily subjective, not necessarily underneath there. So when you first left with your 2 suitcases, was there help in the UK? Where did you go? What did you do? What could you do?
I must say, if I recall, 25th of February was the longest and the hardest day of my life. I stepped out, and it was just a blunt decision. And by then I had lost all my confidence and myself. Before I go further, I would just like to go back a bit, that you just mentioned about the compromise. Of course, if in a relationship, two people are understanding and the balance that, yes,
Right.
they're together, evenly working towards compromise, relationships do work. We're when we check in the dictionary, the compromise word is about we're bringing your standards or your criteria a little lower. So, but when it shifts to completely towards one side and it's imbalanced,
Right.
as you mentioned, there's more vulnerability and more likely that somehow, in some means or the other, the violence can come. So this is exactly what happened with me, that since it was completely imbalanced, I walked away. And yes, I had, I first went to the domestic violence help line, and then they sent me to the lawyers because it was a case that they needed my support. And when I went to the lawyers, I was in a terrible condition. I was in tears. I hadn't eaten anything, so I was starving. I was in having meltdown. So I spent a couple of hours there, and then they were like, my worst nightmare was something that I didn't want to do, was going to the police.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to the police station because they said you have to go.
Right.
And that was the hardest bit ever. So then the journey started. I had help and I had support, and then they got me going. But yes, I was in depression. I didn't know. I was coping with things that I never imagined in my life. I was getting nightmares that, oh, things can go worse. I don't know. I might be next be killed or do what. But but I spent my time grieving and letting it come out. So, but what happened is thanks to my family, they were very kind, they were very supportive, especially my brother. They were encouraging, spreading this positivity, and they
That's
said,
great.
you know, you have faith. And sometimes when you're going through so much, you can tend to forget the connection. It's there, but you think that you are very connected with your Lord, but we don't realize that we are lost somewhere. So it's people around you who bring you together. And then I started reflecting that, taking my situation into positivity and connecting. And then when I was reading our book, the Quran, and it mentions about the story of Mary when she was pregnant and she was about to deliver Jesus. And there's a direct dialogue between our Lord and Mary, that Lord says, try to push the tree, just touch it. She was in pain, but he said, all you have to do is try. And that's it. That has had so much meaning, and that so much connection to my story, that all my Lord is trying to tell me is that I just need to try and he will make things work. And that is true. I wouldn't say things are perfect. Of course, there's so much going on, but I certainly have the positivity. I have the energy back. I feel that I am adjusting to the everyday changes that are happening. There's so much happening, but I am having that positivity that, yes, I have to try and my Lord will make it happen. So this is how things are going. It's been quite a difficult, very emotionally exhausting, but it has, I feel very happy. And this is what I want to spread across the message, that, if I really feel the sort of person that I left on 25th of February 2019, if those who had seen me, they would have realized that this woman would never be back on her feet again. In spite of being educated, I had all the qualifications, but I was vulnerable. I was made to believe by my my ex-husband, that I was incompetent and whatnot I had heard. So I believe those things. That yes, maybe I am like that. But now I am adamant to break those limiting beliefs. And it's not because I'm trying to prove it to him. It's my life at the end of the day.
Right.
And I'm answerable for my actions. So I feel very and responsible that I should help other women. Because when I went to the police station, this is what stuck with me, that she said when after leaving after 3 hours from the police station, the lady was like, you know, we get to say every police station in London, just London, every police station has, there are 20 domestic violence cases reported
Wow.
every day in every.
Wow.
So I have got me thinking that in spite of living in such a country where there's such strict laws and there's so much protection, whatnot, it's still happening. So
Yes.
I really feel that my Lord has, I have realized that my Lord has sent me and made me go through this process because I have a purpose in life. So that is the connection that I really have.
That's great. I know that a lot of people, and you said one of the things that a lot of people that come out of domestic violence, they don't want to go to the police, and that's really what's going to stop the cycle. And I think that's another lie that we believe is that, that it's going to be on us. And I know in our culture, there's a lot of victim shaming still, because from ignorance and from just, I believe that our enemy that likes to take the truth and just twist it just a little bit. So there's so many things that you said, Haseeba, that I really, I want to come to London, sit and talk with you more. There's just so much more. There's so much more to your story. And so in our New Testament, part of what what I follow is that God tells us that we are to be ambassadors for Christ, for our beliefs. And basically that is, we are to take what the Lord has blessed us with, what the Lord has taught us, and teach to other people. So we become ambassadors for him because of the things that we've gone through, that we don't shy back. And I think that's a big piece of what he's really compelled me to be doing this show for, is that we are all on a journey in this life, and the community is so very important. I'm so excited to hear that your brother and your family were supportive, because I hear a lot of stories that other cultures and other religions are not supportive of women when they come out of a domestic violence thing, because they're supposed to be submissive and supposed to be compliant to whatever the man believes. So I thank you so much, so many things that we can keep talking about. So one thing, if you were to tell one thing to our listeners, maybe someone who is currently sitting in an abusive situation, what would you tell that woman? What would you tell her?
See, I mean, you beautifully summarized what you just said. I would like to say that, I understand, at the end of the day, I have great respect for all religions, I must say.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's the connection that we have with the Supreme. I feel it is the rituals. We've all been given the guidelines. And if the guidelines are not that difficult, if we come out, when I talk about the religious aspect, it's the rituals, it's the culture that has made it so complex and difficult.
Yes.
And I've been trained in those. Even though in spite of not living within the actual ethnicity of where I belong from, but it has still made an impact. So if someone, my sister, I would call her my sister, who might be watching right now, who's going through domestic violence, I just feel, have faith It's difficult in the difficult of the most weakest moments, but if you have faith and just, try, things will work out. It's difficult, I would never promise, and I know this from experience that it's not going to be easy. But once you try, your attitude will change and you will automatically feel that you can do this. And we can. And women, the power of we are very, very special and God gifted on this. If we think we are blessings, we are blessings.
Yes.
We're special, we're important, and we all have a purpose in this life, and we should seek for that purpose. And to seek that purpose, it's that effort, that just little push, and we can get through it. So this is the message I would give to my sisters who are going through difficult phase. And I would understand, and I feel how they are. It's not going to be easy, but it's certainly, this life was gifted to us. We cannot waste it. And life is not that long, it's short. So let's make it worth it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your words. And I'm going to include after this podcast a number for domestic violence to get free of domestic violence here in the United States. And I'm wondering if you would also, if there's a telephone number in the UK, if you'd get that to me. So before this airs, we want to put that information on there. So Haseeba, tell us a little bit more about your coaching and how people can get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about what you're doing or support you.
Here's the interesting bit that I have, I'm currently taking up the coaching course, and I have, I'm almost qualified, and
Okay.
I am also working towards setting my own business. I shouldn't call it a business. I mean, it's a purpose, I would say, that we support, that I am setting it up. But for now, of course, I am on social media and I'm available. And the best way to connect with me would be via LinkedIn.
Okay.
So if you might want to add my LinkedIn link, or should I send it to you? And then we can start. Anyone can message me. I'm there to listen to my sister's stories, and we can take it from there.
Okay, great. So directly after this interview, we will have a little placeholder for those of you that are listening on Inspiration for Life. If you go over to YouTube, or if you go to our Facebook page at Becoming Truly Liberated, we will have Haseeba's contact information on LinkedIn, and we wish you great success in your coaching. I appreciate that you tried. I appreciate that you broke free, and I appreciate that you are, seeking your personal relationship with your Lord. I appreciate you so much coming on and telling your story. It's important. It's important.
Thank you, Janet. I must say, this is a great platform and a great initiative that you've taken. May Lord bless you, and all the very best for taking this forward. I mean, thank you so much for giving me this chance to speak up and make my voice reach out to many other women.
Yes, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And that is really what Becoming Truly Liberated is all about. It's helping women find their voice, hone in their message, and giving them a platform and giving them encouragement to speak out. I really do believe that God is rising up women across the world to be a healing place. And no matter where you are in the journey, you are valuable in this world and to this world. Your story is very, very important. I encourage you to please visit our sponsors and visit with Haseeba later on when you get her LinkedIn information. And I thank you so much. And keep listening to Becoming Truly Liberated.
Tonight, I wanted to end our broadcast with sharing a screen about making a safety plan.
for those that are caught in domestic violence. First, I wanted to thank so much Davina and Haseeba for sharing their stories with us, for being vulnerable, and for being brave. I love so much their stories of victory over overcoming words that were spoken to them, and that they started to believe for themselves, but more than that, finding the strength within to leave a domestic violence type situation. And so I'm sharing the screen with you. If you're listening on Inspiration for Life, you can see the screenshot over at YouTube, Becoming Truly Liberated on YouTube, or on our Facebook page, Becoming Truly Liberated. But this is from loverespect.org, which I found on the U.S. National Domestic Violence Hotline page. And so I wanted to read these things to you if you're listening and do not have access to a computer. There is a hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, 7233, 1-800-799-SAFE, and that's in the U.S., the hotline.org. So what is a safety plan? A safety plan is a personalized, practical plan that includes ways to remain safe while in an abusive relationship, while you're planning to leave or after you have left. Safety planning involves how to cope with emotions, how to tell friends and family about the abuse, how to take legal action, and anything else relevant to your own unique situation. A good safety plan will have all of the vital information you need, and it will help you walk through many different scenarios. At the hotline, I'm reading their brochure, we safety plan with victims, with family, with friends, anyone who is concerned about their own safety or the safety of someone else. So why is having a safety plan important? A thorough safety plan can provide clarity and strength for a person living in an abusive relationship. For family and friends of an abuse victim, a safety plan is a powerful tool for providing emotional support as well as physical safety. Should a situation ever escalate to life-threatening, a safety plan can become an absolute essential to survival. Our advocates provide assistance with safety plans for a variety of situations, such as while living with the abusive partner. A safety plan could include identifying the safest place in your home, practicing how to get out of the house safely, keeping weapons locked away, and or letting a support network know about your situation. If you're safety planning with children, when your children are involved, it's important that a safety plan outline ways to keep the children safe. This could include teaching them how to call 911, identifying a safe room, planning for unsupervised visits, and or planning for safe custody exchanges. Safety planning with pets. A pet is often a cherished member of a family, and safety plans can include them as well. It might include taking steps to prove ownership of your pet, finding temporary care with a vet, family, friend, or shelter. And safety planning while you're pregnant. Pregnancy can be an especially dangerous time for women, especially in abusive situations. Safety planning could involve speaking with healthcare providers, how to physically protect yourself in a violent situation, and or finding ways to receive the support and care that you need. Again, this information is found at loveisrespect.org. You can text love is, all one word, love is, to 22522 to try to get more help. Domestic violence is an extremely prevalent situation, not only in the United States, but across the world. One of our guests tonight is from the UK, and so that information over hotlines for the UK is also available. We know that everyone has their struggles that they go through, and I'm just encouraging you tonight that if you are in an abusive situation, that you reach out that you get some help from a family friend, from a neighbor, from someone that you can trust, and that you can reach out to some of these hotlines. Again, I want to thank Davina and Haseeba for sharing their stories with us. And as always, we hope that God will find you where you are, love on you, and you will know what a good Father He is to you and the potential for great healing. Good night.
For more information about Inspiration for Life International Internet Radio Network and this podcast, please visit www.inspiration4life.org.